Now, for more on this, we're joined by Gordon Robinson. He is the U.S. Affairs columnist for Gulf News and also teaches political science at the University of Vermont. Thanks very much indeed for being with us, Gordon.
Pleasure.
Now, there are a lot of different policy issues that were addressed tonight. ISIL, the refugee crisis, Syria, Assad. But a big one for U.S. voters would be the tax issue in particular. Let's just quickly listen to this soundbite from what Trump had to say when he was faced with a question about whether he paid taxes.
You have not answered, though, a simple question. Did you use that $916 million loss to avoid paying personal federal income taxes?
Of course I do. Of course I do. And so do all of her donors, or most of her donors. I know many of her donors. See, I understand the tax code better than anybody that's ever run for president. But I will tell you that, number one, I pay tremendous numbers of taxes. I absolutely used it, and so did Warren Buffett, and so did George Soros, and so did many of the other people that Hillary is getting money from.
So he has admitted to have avoided paying taxes. At the same time, in the same breath, then blamed Hillary Clinton for her role as senator during this time.
Right, well, and as Hillary Clinton said, senators can't make laws on their own. She was a Democratic senator in a government with a Republican president. But I think the bigger point on the tax issue here is that while no one has alleged that in not paying taxes, Donald Trump did anything illegal, that he used the tax code in a jaw-dropping but legal way, that's just not going to sit with most ordinary Americans. The idea that you could somehow avoid paying personal income tax for 10, 15, 18, 20 years, there's just no good way to spin that. And I would predict that it's late evening in the U.S. right now, that by the time people wake up in the morning, the Clinton campaign is already going to have turned that soundbite into an ad, and they will relentlessly drill it into people's heads for the next few weeks.
Will this be one of the key turning points, do you think, even when it comes to some of these undecided voters now?
I'm not sure I would go that far. I look at this debate as kind of a Rorschach test. I think it probably reinforced the views that most viewers came to it with. So I think the tax issue may well emerge from this as the thing that 2-3 weeks from now we most remember from this night. But I don't think that I saw anything in this debate that really was a massive turning point.
Okay. And another one was Syria in particular. Again, U.S. policy on the Middle East is a bit of a big issue right now. The Obama administration doesn't seem to have a very clear understanding of where they're going politically anymore, from what people are claiming. Now, in terms of Trump and Hillary, Trump seemed quite incoherent on his policy on Syria.
Well, right. So when asked about Syria, Hillary Clinton essentially reinforced the existing Obama policy, which, as you say, is somewhat muddy and hard to follow at times. But Trump was simply incoherent. He lost his train of thought within 2 or 3 sentences, and it was really sort of impossible to tell what he was advocating or what he wasn't.
Yeah, well, let's quickly just listen to how Clinton responded when asked about American involvement in the Syrian conflict.
I would go after Baghdadi. I would specifically target Baghdadi because I think our targeting of al-Qaeda leaders, and I was involved in a lot of those operations, highly classified ones, made a difference. So I think that could help. I would also consider arming the Kurds. The Kurds have been our best partners in Syria as well as Iraq.
Right, so you heard that from Clinton. What are your thoughts on how did her ideas differ?
Well, again, you may not like Hillary Clinton's policy, but at least it's expressed in a reasonably coherent way. The interesting thing when you listen to that soundbite is it looks at Syria entirely through the lens of ISIL. The first thing she says is we should go after Baghdadi. There are multiple overlapping conflicts in Syria, Iraq, southern Turkey. There is a tendency in public discussion in the U.S. really to focus in on ISIL and to ignore the complexities of the overlapping conflicts. And I think Hillary Clinton sort of fell into that trap. Syria equals what do we do about ISIL? But of course, as people who watch this channel know, there's a lot more to the Syrian conflict than just the question of what should be done about ISIL.